What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Wednesday night, June 19th. Happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. 2024, and this is your AEW Dynamite review here on the Big Fight Field channel. And once again, this is 3 weeks in a row now. 3 weeks in a row where AEW has given us wrestling fans great weekly television. Because tonight's show was another good one. We got another really good show tonight. I thought the show was great. They were in Fairfax, Virginia. Tonight was MJF's first match in AEW since he lost the AEW World Championship all the way back at World's End in December against Samoa Joe. So that was a huge deal. He went one-on-one against Roosh. The match was fucking great as expected. What they did with Roosh after the match, I did not like. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. MJF's not confirmed yet, but Forbidden Door opponent seems to be set. At least he's on the show. He's got to wrestle on that show on Long Island next week, so I'm glad he's going to be wrestling somebody. And, people might not like it the most, but I'm okay with it. I think it'll be a good match. So we'll talk about that. And then also, we had the beginning of the men's and women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. We'll break down the brackets, and we'll talk about the matches tonight. And then finally, forgot to bring this up. The face-to-face between Will Ospreay. The face-to-face between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland was not only the best segment in AEW this year, it was one of the best segments in professional wrestling of 2024. I wouldn't say it's better than the Raw segment in March where The Rock busted up Cody Rhodes. That was incredible. That was some of the best television I've seen from WWE in a very long time. But this was entertaining. They were dropping bars on each other. They made it personal. And now they're teaming up with each other next week. So now, next week, we're going to get the storyline of, can these two coexist? So we'll see how that goes. But I thank you all so much for joining me. I do have to apologize really quickly, though. There was no episode 8 of Chopping It Up. I just really had a lousy day yesterday. So I just wanted the night to relax, rest my mind, even though we were coming off a Clash at the Castle pay-per-view and we were coming off a great episode of Monday Night Raw. By the way, what a time it is to be a wrestling fan. Going into the summer, Monday Night Raw, there's so much coming out of Raw on Monday. You got Seth Rollins back in the mix, which I did not expect him to be back as soon as he came back. He's back in the mix, getting his rematch clause against Damian Priest at Money in the Bank. You got Drew McIntyre quitting the WWE after coming up short at Clash at the Castle, thanks to CM Punk. That's going to be the best feud all summer long in both companies. I'm pumped for Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. You got everything going on with Braun Breaker and entering himself in the Intercontinental Championship scene on Monday Night Raw. He's probably my favorite wrestler in the WWE right now. And then you got the debut of the Wyatt Six, Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, and Dexter Lumis. People are still talking about their debut they made to close off Monday Night Raw this past Monday. So it is a great, great time to be a fan of professional wrestling, of WWE and AEW. Both companies are doing some of their best works right now, and it's going to be one hell of a summer for us professional wrestling fans. So, let's get into this banger of a show we got tonight, man. Dynamite, as they announced last week, was going to open up with MJF against Roosh and their feud that they have been having over the past couple weeks. Back-to-back weeks, they've had some really violent brawls in the stands and in backstage area. Tonight, they're going to settle it in the ring. And they are hammering each other with elbows to start the match. Roosh is trying to get into a chop fest. He chops MJF once. MJF's building up like he's going to chop. Roosh, and instead he gives Roosh a thumb to the eye, and then we'll pick it up right here. Roosh with a right hand over the face of MJF. Roosh then Irish whips MJF into the ropes on the other side. MJF leapfrogs Roosh, and Roosh kicks out the small package at 2. Then both of them are in the ring. They are trading cradles. 2 count for MJF, 2 count for Roosh, 2 count for MJF, 2 count for Roosh. MJF then gives Roosh a super kick to the face, sets him up for a DDT, kind of like Saraya's finisher, and he planted Roosh right on the top of his head, and Roosh kicked out at 2. Now they are both on the outside. Roosh, he does his signature, not his signature, but in most of his matches where he throws his opponent into one barricade, into another side of the barricade, into the another side of the barricade. He did that to MJF 3 times. Looked absolutely brutal. Then he was giving him knees into the barricade. Then this is like where he's on a rampage. He grabs a chair, and the referee, Paul Turner, or actually Roosh, takes the chair and he throws it into the ring, so that distracts Paul Turner. And Roosh, he grabs a bull rope from under the ring. So as Roosh is hitting MJF with this bull rope, this idiot Paul Turner doesn't hear the noise effects that the bull rope is giving to MJF. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how the fuck is Paul Turner not able to hear Roosh whipping this guy with a bull rope? That's probably the only criticism I have of this, otherwise what was a great wrestling match. MJF gives Roosh a spine buster, gives him a couple punches to the face, slams his head into the turnbuckle for 10 punches. Then MJF, he has Roosh, or actually Roosh, he hits MJF with a top rope maneuver. He goes for his corner drop kick onto MJF, and MJF ducks, gets Roosh onto the outside, hits him with the Heat Seeker, then in the middle of the ring, gets Roosh into a brain buster, and MJF pins Roosh 1, 2, 3. Great wrestling match to open up the show. As expected, when they announce this match next week, and they have to do more of this, where they promote matches like this for a week long, and then they say this is going to start the show commercial free. I think that's what gets people to tune in, is the fact that, okay, I know I'm going to see MJF at 8 o'clock wrestle Roosh. And they did no intro this week. They went from Big Bang Theory to MJF's music. So that was beautiful. And they need to do more of this, where they promote big matches like this the entire week on their social media platforms for the next episode of Dynamite. So This was great. This probably could have been on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. My only guess as to why this is not on Forbidden Door is because Roosh is still having political issues with CMLL. So the fact that CMLL is on this show, they wouldn't allow Roosh to wrestle on this on the pay-per-view next week. So this match couldn't happen at the pay-per-view, unfortunately. Instead, he's going to wrestle Hechicero. And the reason this is because I guess Hechicero is now an honorary man for the Gates of Agony. He's an honorary member of the Gates of Agony. Whatever. I don't know how that came, but Brian Cage said to MJF that he got a surprise from their EVPs, the Elite, that they wanted to relay to him, is that he has a match in his hometown of Long Island, New York, and Hechicero laid out the challenge to MJF in his hometown. So now MJF has a match. It's not made official. The commentary said even though the Elite gave the surprise to the Gates of Agony, that MJF versus Hechicero has to be made official by either Tony Khan or Christopher Daniels. So it will be made official. It'll be MJF against Hechicero at Forbidden Door. People are upset that MJF is not in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, which I can understand. MJF is a main event caliber wrestler. MJF should be a multiple-time world champion in AEW. Maybe right now they just don't want him in the world title scene. So maybe, based off tonight, maybe they got different plans because this was not the last time you saw MJF on Dynamite tonight. And now we get to Will Ospreay and Swerve. This was fantastic. This was incredible television. So these guys are doing the face-to-face, and Swerve recalls the last year's Forbidden Door when it was Will Ospreay against Kenny Omega. And last year, Will Ospreay needed the help of Don Callis in order to defeat Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door. And Ospreay was like, I want to prove to you and everybody else that I don't need Don Callis or the Don Callis family to help me beat you at Forbidden Door. So they immediately go to a camera shot backstage showing Don Callis standing there with his family. And then these guys were just dropping bars at each other all segment long. Ospreay saying, while you had a hit row, I had a hit list. And I didn't miss once, bro. I beat Okada, Shingo Takagi, Chris Jericho. Then I came to AEW. I beat Takeshita. I beat Bryan Danielson. I beat Kyle O'Reilly. I beat Roderick Strong. And my hit list is still growing. I mean, that guy was hitting bars. That was probably the line of the segment. Swerve talks about, you're so awesome. You're so cool. These people think you're cool, right? What if I break your leg? Or what if I break your arm in our match? These people aren't going to think that you're cool all of a sudden. They're not going to think you're cool anymore. So then he says, how would your wife or your son react to that? And then Ospreay was like, don't you dare mention my son ever again. I don't want to make this personal. And then Ospreay storms off to the ring. His music hits, and Swerve calls him back. So Ospreay is standing on the outside of the ring. He's standing on the outside floor. And Swerve was like, who said I didn't want to make this personal? Anybody who comes after the AEW World Championship It's personal because this is the thing I love the most. I have no friends. You have friends. He brung up him and Shota Umino dancing to Mercedes Moné music, which they've been doing a lot on social media. And he says, I want you to go home this week. And through me, I want you to send kind regards to Al and Harry. Harry is Will Ospreay's son. When Swerve mentioned Harry, Ospreay stormed back into the ring, immediately got into Swerve Strickland's face, and Prince Nana is like, save the emotion for the pay-per-view, when at the pay-per-view it'll be Will Ospreay versus whose house? Ospreay takes the microphone and says, my house. Round of applause. Round of applause for that segment. That was incredible. Incredible segment on Dynamite tonight. Probably one of the best segments on Dynamite this year. So, loved it. Absolutely loved it. For the people who say that Will Ospreay is not good on the microphone, you can shove that take right up your ass because he cut the best promo of his career tonight leading up to this match against Swerve next Sunday for the World Championship. So then we had an all-star 8-man tag team match. Zack Sabre Jr., Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Roderick Strong against Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Dante Martin. I'm not going to break down this match, but because there's so much stuff that happened in this match, I would talk about the match alone for 10 minutes straight. So based off time alone, I'm not going to talk about this match. The match was awesome. The match was awesome. If it wasn't for MJF and Roosh, this would have been the best match on the entire show. This match was so much fun. They had a fun match last week. And, you know, when I heard they announced this match, I'm like, okay, they did pull a WWE, because what WWE likes to do is they put on a great match one week and fans are clamoring about it. They talk about how great of a match they had and they run it back the next week. WWE does that a lot. Recently, it happened with Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov, where fans loved their match in the King of the Ring tournament. 2 weeks later, they ran it back. Last week, fans loved the 6-man tag. They ran it back with an 8-man tag, adding back Dante Martin and Zack Sabre Jr. I'm not going to complain because this match was so damn fun. And I will say, it is not even close. AEW is the best when it comes to multi-man matches. 6-man matches, 8-man matches. They are so chaotic. They are so fun. Honestly, if they did these once a week, I would not complain. I would not complain about AEW doing multi-man matches every week. Seriously. Because when you got wrestlers like Mark Briscoe and Dante Martin and Zack Sabre Jr. and Takeshita in these matches, what you saw tonight is the result you get. So I'm not going to go over the match, but if you didn't see the match, I would highly advise you go check that out. Last week, the heels won. This week, the babyfaces won. Orange Cassidy pinned Roderick Strong with the Orange Punch. He got face-to-face with Zack Sabre Jr. after the match. That match is going to be awesome. They're going to have a great, technical, professional wrestling match at Forbidden Door. And then after the match, the guys that are in the Forbidden Door ladder match for the TNT Championship, Mark Briscoe Dante Martin, Konosuke Takeshita, they all got into a brawl. Jack Perry got the cheap shot in on Dante Martin, and then he ran away from Dante. Briscoe and Takeshita, they were brawling. And now, this week on Rampage, we're going to find out our fifth member. It's going to be Leo Rush versus Action Andretti, and the winner is going to Forbidden Door. I'll go with Leo Rush. So, already, in this ladder match, you're going to have Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, and Leo Rush, and one other person. Yeah, that match is going to be insane. That's going to be crazy. That, honestly, outside of the World Championship match, might be the match I'm looking forward to the most. I'm telling you, man. Oof. I'm way more excited for Forbidden Door than I was Double or Nothing. And Double or Nothing had a great match card, but the build was weak. The build has not been weak for Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door, I mean, the build has been really, really fun in my opinion. So then, after that 8-man tag, we go to the Young Bucks against the Acclaimed in a title eliminator match where if the Acclaimed win, they get a shot at the tag team titles. Believe it or not, I cannot remember the last time we had an eliminator match and the challengers won. Yes, the Acclaimed beat the Young Bucks tonight, and they get a shot at the tag team championships whenever they want. So, we're going to pick it up right here. Bowens has been dealing with a knee injury all match. He got tagged. He hit the Famouser onto Matt Jackson. He was selling the knee in the corner. He went up for a super kick. He couldn't plant the knee, so he fell backwards. And Matt Jackson laughed at his face and gave Anthony Bowens a super kick of his own. He covered Bowens, and Bowens kicked out. The Young Bucks, they then pump up their new Reebok shoes, which again, who wears Reebok in 2024? I'm just joking. So then they double super kick Anthony Bowens, and Bowens kicks out of the double super kick. Then they got Bowens on the top rope. So for a long time, this was a 2-on-1 handicap match. This was basically the Young Bucks versus Anthony Bowens. The Bucks hit a double team maneuver off the top rope to Bowens. Bowens landed on his head, and he kicked out. Crazy how he kicked out at that spot. I honestly thought it was the end of the match. Then, at the end, the Bucks are going for the Meltzer driver. Or actually, no. That was before. Nick goes to grab the AEW Tag Team title. He goes to grab the title, and Rick Knox, who was the referee of this match, stole it out of his hand. He went to go put it in one corner. Then Nicholas got the other one. He got the other tag team title belt. And he's going to hit Bowens, and Bowens ducks, and Nicholas hits Matthew in the face with the tag team title belt. Face planter by Bowens into a mic drop by Max Caster. Caster is holding on to Nick Jackson, and believe it or not, the Acclaimed beat the Young Bucks, and they get a shot at the AEW Tag Team Championships. Good stuff. They had a very good match in this title eliminator. Feels like every other week we have a title eliminator match in AEW, but I'm happy that in this case that the challengers won. I had a feeling because I'm like, they've been feuding with each other for a couple weeks now. I don't think this is going to be the end of it. And in order for it not to be the end, the Acclaim have to win this match so they get their match with the Young Bucks. That's exactly what happened. They're going to get a tag team title match probably in a couple weeks on an episode of Dynamite. We had a contract signing for Forbidden Door, the AEW Women's Championship match. Mariah May was the host of the contract signing. We had Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm. Mariah was talking during the segment, and Mina told Mariah to shut up. So Toni was like, I would never tell you to shut up. She's not truly a friend. She goes on to talk about Mina, blah, blah, blah. They both signed the contract, and Mina, at the end of this, goes, Mariah, you have to pick between me and Toni Storm. And then the crowd goes, ooh. And then Saraya and Harley Cameron, they come out. They come out from this. And we get Anna Jay from behind attacking Mina Shirakawa. Then we get Anna Jay, Saraya, and Harley Cameron going after Toni Storm, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa. Toni Storm then ends up taking out all three of them with her shoe, and she goes to do the hip attack, the ass to the face to Saraya. Saraya moves, and Toni Storm goes through the table, and that was the segment. So they didn't announce they were doing any match next week. I know that Mariah is facing Saraya in the first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. That's obviously where Mariah is going to get her win back. But I wouldn't be shocked if they have a 6-woman tag before that match between Mariah and Saraya. Nyla Rose against Chris Statlander in the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. Statlander won in 10 to 12 minutes. Stokely cut a promo after the match saying that Willow Nightingale is in this tournament too. And if she puts her hands on either me or Chris Statlander, she'll be locked up in prison exactly like Justin Timberlake. Willow gets on the Titantron and says, congratulations on the win. We are on the same side of the bracket. As a matter of fact, if I beat Serena Deeb this Friday on Rampage, I will face you in the second round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So after this, they reveal the brackets, or it might have been before the match, but we might as well talk about these brackets now. We got the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. We have, which this year, I'm more invested in the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament based off the story they got going on with Toni Storm and Mariah May. I'm more interested in the women's side. So, on the left, we got Willow Nightingale, Serena Deeb, and we have Chris Statlander and Nyla Rose. Chris Statlander beat Nyla Rose tonight. She's moving on. Then on the other side, we have Deonna Purrazzo and Hikaru Shida. And then on the bottom, we have Mariah May and Saraya. Obviously, the second round is going to be Willow Nightingale against Chris Statlander and Deonna Purrazzo against Mariah May. The finals is going to be Chris Statlander against Mariah May. Chris Statlander is going to lose because of Willow Nightingale. Mariah May is going to win the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. And she's going to challenge for the Women's Championship at Forbidden Door. That's where the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament is going. For the men's, we have Claudio Castagnoli versus Pac. We have Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, which is taking place at Forbidden Door. That match is going to be tremendous. Then on the other side, we have Rey Fenix versus Jay White. and we have Jeff Jarrett versus the Wild Card. Now, the Wild Card, no doubt in my mind, is going to be Hangman Page. And I called this back at Double or Nothing when they announced these tournaments, when Tony Khan announced these tournaments, and they said that the winner of the tournaments is going to challenge for their world championship at All In. I'm like, Hangman is going to win this because Ospreay's the international champion. So they might have changed his plans for the Forbidden Door. For All In. So Hangman is going to make his return. He's going to be in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. He's not going to be in Blood and Guts. And he's going to challenge for the World Championship at Wembley Stadium. That's how that's going to go. So, and he's going to be Bryan Danielson in the finals. That's the men's side. There's your two winners of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Hangman Page and Mariah May. Daniel Garcia, he wrestled Rhett Titus and beat him in about 2 minutes. So, we'll get to the ending of this segment here, but I want to talk about something about Daniel Garcia. The way that AEW is booking their mid-card baby faces is the same. Let's look at Kyle O'Reilly. Ever since Kyle O'Reilly has came back, he's had 3 championship matches in a span of, I want to say, 6 weeks. He wrestled Roderick Strong at Dynasty. He lost. And I'm addressing this because I'm giving AEW legit criticism here. They have trouble of booking mid-card baby faces challenging for championships. Kyle O'Reilly wrestles Roderick Strong at Dynasty. He loses. Kyle O'Reilly wins a couple matches. He then challenges Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. He loses. Kyle O'Reilly, then after that, he wins a couple more matches. He challenges Will Ospreay for the International Championship on the Collision after Double or Nothing. He loses. They're doing the same exact thing with Daniel Garcia, except his is longer. He was on such a hot streak to begin this year that he did not lose in 2024. Then, at Revolution, he wrestled Christian Cage, where I thought he was going to beat Christian Cage for the TNT Championship. He did not. He lost. And then, now, it took them a while, but now he's getting wins. They're putting him in squash matches every week. He's getting squash matches on Collision, squash matches on Dynamite. They're building him up as a challenger for Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay got in his face tonight, held up his arm. So, they're doing this, they're booking their mid-card baby faces the same, where they get win after win after win in these squash matches. Then they have enough wins to challenge for either the International Championship, the TNT Championship, or the Continental Championship, and then they lose, and then they do the same thing again, and then they challenge for another championship, and they lose, and they have a problem with it. Now they're doing it with Daniel Garcia. He's going after the International Championship. He's going to challenge Will Ospreay, and guess what, folks? Daniel Garcia is going to lose to Will Ospreay. So now, he's going to have to go in the back of the line to climb back up again. They have a problem of booking mid-card babyfaces. You don't think I'm telling the truth? I just told you how they book Kyle O'Reilly and how they book Daniel Garcia. There you go. Thank me. There's something I wanted to talk about with Roosh that I forgot to bring up, so I'm going to bring it up briefly before we get to the main event, Claudio against Pac. Roosh was shown frustrated backstage. He was slapping the wall until someone put his hand on Roosh's shoulder. He spoke in Spanish, and he said, if you need me, you could send me an email or something like that. And it was Don Callis. So now, I saw this tweet on Twitter, and I kind of agree with it. It's now a common theme where AEW has a heel that they don't know what to do with. They're going to be in the Don Callis family. Look at Takeshita. Look at Trent. And now, look at Roosh. Roosh is probably going to join the Don Callis family. They have no direction for Takeshita, which is a crime. They got no direction for Trent, which I don't care about Trent personally. And this better be good things for Roosh, because they gave Roosh a big opportunity to have a match with MJF, to have a feud with MJF, and he fucking killed it, man. So, I hope they do right by Roosh. I really do. And speaking of Takeshita is going to be in the G1 Climax tournament this summer for New Japan. So that's pretty cool. Main event, first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Claudio Castagnoli versus Pac. Pac, the guys are fighting on the outside. Pac whips Castagnoli into two sides of the barricade. Castagnoli is selling his hip as Pac throws him back into the ring. Then Pac comes off the hardest part of the ring, and he does a Hurricane Rana onto Claudio. They're back inside the ring. Claudio goes for the recoil bomb. Pac counters it into the brutalizer. While Claudio is holding on to him, Pac has the brutalizer locked in on Claudio. Then these two both go for the roll-ups, and Claudio has the sharpshooter in on Pac, and Pac does not want to submit. And then they have a series of roll-ups. Pac gets Claudio into a crucifix roll-up, and he pins him right there. So Pac is going on to the second round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and he's going to face the winner of Shingo Takagi and Bryan Danielson. After the match, Pac offered a hand to shake Claudio's hand, and Claudio refused to shake his hand. And Danielson told him while he was on commentary, he's like, look, man, he got the better of you. It happens. It just happens, man. So, Bryan trying to talk some sense into Claudio. So, that's all I got for tonight. For those of you that are interested, Collision on Saturday. I'll read you the card lineup right now. I just got to pull it up here. Here we go. We got the announced matches for the next few AEW shows. For those of you that are interested, Rampage will be Leo Rush versus Action Andretti. Winner goes to the ladder match at Forbidden Door. Willow Nightingale against Serena Deeb in the first round of the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. And Private Party will take on Commander and Gran Metalik. On Collision, it will be Kazuchika Okada against Ultimo Guerrero in a Continental title eliminator match. So that's really cool. casually getting a match between Ultimo Guerrero and Okada on Collision. Will Ospreay against Brian Cage for the International Championship, and Private Party versus Chris Jericho and Big Bill. That is Collision from Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is only an hour and a half away from my house, but I'm not going to Collision. I'm not going to do that. Save that money for other events down the line. And then you got Dynamite next Wednesday. This is the go-home show before Forbidden Door. I must have missed the announcement because they did announce that next week it's going to be Toni Storm, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa against Saraya, Anna Jay, and Harley Cameron. That's on Dynamite next week. And then first round, Owen Hart Cup Tournament, Jay White taking on Rey Fenix. Going to be fantastic. And then the Gates of Agony, they're going to take on Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. So, will Swerve and Ospreay be able to coexist next week? That's the storyline they got lined up for Swerve and Ospreay. But guys, now I'm getting out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. We'll be back with another video coming up soon here on the channel. So be sure to subscribe for all the content here on the Big Fight Fuel channel. Comment down below your thoughts on tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter at Conlon_Joseph. And I will see you in the next one. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy and love wrestling. I'm out. Peace.